his life from this monstrosity.
People who can't afford to fly first class, and gentlemen. I have to give credit to my friend Road Boss for pointing this out to me. Recently, the janitor McCainisthroughx put up another "I'm desperately trying to prove I'm a fluent" video, but fell flat on her face. Mcstupidx, as I like to call her, watches my channel constantly, and after this is uploaded, watch her appear almost instantly to do damage control. As I mentioned, Mcstupidx constantly watches my channel, and after a friend of mine, Road Boss, mentioned, and he mentioned this a few months ago, he didn't see Mcstupidx's "I'm on a plane, I'm rich" video when it was uploaded. After a friend of mine, Road Boss, mentioned several times that Mcstupidx was not flying first class, she was flying coach, Mcstupidx went into damage control. It's quite odd, I think, for a person with a lot of imaginary fiat currency to be flying coach. But don't forget, she's a fluent. It wasn't long after Road Boss mentioned this, Mcstupidx went into damage control mode and uploaded a video which ironically undercuts a lot of her verbiage over the years. In the first video, Mcstupidx makes no mention of flying coach. Very important. One would expect her, singular, to mention this since she's done a plethora of highly edited, bogus videos purporting to be a fluent. Why would she leave out this detail? She thought nobody would find out. Here's the clip. It was Mcstupid's rebuttal video that was so damaging, however. One of her reasons not being able to afford first class is because it's so doggone safe. If the aircraft goes down, the janitor and her less affluent cohorts in coach, complete with a free bag of stale pretzels, have a 69% chance of surviving. And the more affluent folks in first class only have a 49% chance of surviving. Of course, if you're in a several hundred-ton tube traveling at over 600 miles per hour and you go down, it probably doesn't matter where you sit. So Mcstupidx can't afford first class. I mean, she flies with the less affluent in coach. I mean, she, singular, flies coach because it's so darn safe. Problem is, the likelihood of being a commercial airline fatality is incredibly low, and in some years it's basically zero. If I can use a metaphor to describe Mcstupidx's logic, it would be getting life insurance specifically designed to pay out if one dies before 40, and then having a special section in that just in case you get struck by lightning. Dying before 40 for most folks in the U.S. is unlikely, and even more unlikely is being struck by lightning. Even that analogy doesn't do it justice. Mcstupid's rationale doesn't hold water, as planes are very safe and the odds of being in a commercial airline crash are very, 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 very low. In addition, I have all the links underneath the video. Unlike Mcstupidx, who usually provides zero references because she copies off kook blogs and uses Google for 90% of her information. What's even funnier is Mcstupidx contradicts herself in her own comments. In her video, she claims to fly nearly once a month. Later, in a comment to one of her ADHD sheep, it magically becomes about 15 times annually. What the heck? The idiot can't keep her own fake story straight, but that's how fake stories usually go. It's difficult to keep them straight, especially if you're stupid. Mcstupidx is also so sure that coach is safe, she took an imaginary trip on first class to Japan and England, no less. But don't forget, coach is really, really super safe, and that's the reason she flies coach, except when she doesn't fly coach. So I guess the story about safety isn't that big a deal. Again, we've got some contradictions here. See, the longer the BSers BS, the more they twist themselves, twist in the wind, and they kind of do the undercutting for you. As you'll see later, her comments about unnecessary ego boosts are quite silly, as she has a huge chip on her shoulder. Who knows next week it'll be 500 flights annually, then it'll be 10, then 4, and later she'll be driving a Yugo to save lots of money. If people fly coach to save money, If I had responded to your bogus wallet challenge, and I did refute that, and was wearing a cheap watch, I probably would have been lampooned as poor. I'll just keep investing in and owning silver, thank you very much. But here's the clip of Mcstupid. Her, boy, she's pretty proud of that watch. Are you also proud of indoor plumbing? Wow, you probably have indoor plumbing too. Do you have an internet connection? Wow, you should brag about that. Here's the clip.
Let's see here. Second hands don't lie, especially sweep second hands on expensive Swiss watches.
But what if one wants to simply own a cheap watch that just keeps good time? That undercuts her I fly coach argument. Equitable logic is a pain, isn't it, Mcstupidx? The janitor has a huge chip on her shoulder. Looking through some of her Googled links on her Rich People Fly Coach video, it's quite a self-indictment. She lauds all these billionaires for not living large, and if that's true, what rationale would she use to prove the Kook Troop is poor, or anybody? Perhaps they're just living below their means like these billionaires who drive Toyota Corollas, use paper plates, and have cheap furniture in small homes. As you'll see later, years ago, Mcstupidx was lampooning Sheldon, Iowa for low home prices and modest housing, but that's in stark contrast to arguments she's now using now to prove that she flies coach because she's rich. So if I use paper plates, am I rich? I do use paper plates occasionally. Probably bad for the environment though, Mcstupid, because that's filling up the landfills. You probably shouldn't be using that. Probably shouldn't be using paper plates. That's going to fill up them landfills. I'll bet if I had responded to her video trying to piggyback off of one of old Brown Tooth's responses to me by driving a Toyota Corolla and eating off paper plates, I've been labeled as a poor cave dweller. It's quite funny to see Mcstupid refute herself. She makes it too easy for me. Remember that video, Mcstupid? You showed a highly edited video of someone in a Cadillac Escalade, which is bad for the environment, by the way, tell the real owner to buy a Chevy Cruze, and you showed some footage of some idiot with driving a boat around for what? Was that to prove you're affluent? And I do have a side. Who's the woman with the speech impediment in the back? I couldn't understand what it was saying. So if someone responds to that video and they're driving a Ford Festiva because it gets good fuel mileage, that means they're really affluent and just frugal? Thanks for that. I am definitely going to keep that in my back pocket for later. I expect Road Boss to put some comments on this video about the differences between coach and first class too. I know he will, and Mcstupid's going to blow a gasket. So if you actually have any evidence, janitor, that anyone you oppose online is poor, I suggest you post it. Otherwise, it's just damage control. By the way, you are invited to my channel. You are not blocked. Anytime you want to debate me on any video I've responded to you on, bring it. Here's another clip from one of Mcstupid's videos where she lampoons people living in cities where housing prices aren't high enough to be considered rich. Guess that would be the best way to put it, right? But do you own the roof over your head, Mcstupid? Well, do you, punk? I do, but I'm not going to call you poor for renting if you rent. What I will say, there are advantages to renting, but you look like a hypocrite when you don't own the roof over your own head. Remember her earlier comment about avoiding unnecessary ego trips? This sounds like an ego trip to me. Here's the clip.
Iowa. More specifically, Sheldon, Iowa. A tiny community of hayseeds, Bible sniffers, and fat, lazy, unemployed, uneducated cow milkers, fast food workers, and janitors. Home sales in zip code 51201. The highest reaches just over $125,000. A very, very low price for a home. Look what you get! (2007) house values distribution. Very few homes cost $300,000 or more. Look what you get! How wonderful and cozy! You won't find many doctors in Sheldon. Featured employment opportunities include Denny's and the National Guard. There's an abundance and wellspring of opportunities for the uneducated. Single-family new house construction building permits for Sheldon in 2008 A whole 2 buildings were built. Average cost, $212,500. A very great comparison to the sprawling city of San Francisco, where homes cost as much as $23 million. Pretty much the same thing.
That concludes this section. Thank you, Road Boss, for causing McCainisthroughx to upload a damage control video where she undercut her own logic. Logic she's used for years to belittle others. If you'd quit owning yourself so often, McCainisthroughx, refuting you might actually become a challenge for me. Now for the main event, a very poor and generalized cut and paste video on gun control by the janitor McCainisthroughx.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event.
And now to our last piece of business, a poorly done, hurried, and generalized cut and paste video by Mcstupidx the janitor, making a very flaccid attempt to make the Brady campaign look intelligent. Unlike her, I linked to all my material. Even though it wasn't hard for me to find the Brady 2013 scorecard, why didn't the janitor link to it? She's really lazy, and this goes further to prove my point that she rarely provides references. I have several points that I've already debunked in numerous videos prior. Please check those out as screenshots for those who will be going by. Been there, debunk that. Here are several quick points the non-doctor McCainisthroughx neglects to tell her sheep. Number 1, she's fixated on the number of firearm homicides, but doesn't ask what percentage of homicides are committed with a firearm. What if the homicide rate decreased 20%, but the percentage of homicides where a firearm was involved increased by 50%? Dead is dead whether a person is shot, hit in the head with a cinder block, shanked, or asphyxiated. Why no discussion of that? You know why. Mcstupidx only does quick, generalized videos. She's an uneducated dumbass. Number 2, when she cherry-picked a few countries that have fewer homicides than the USA, why doesn't she adjust that per capita as it should be? Even if the US is higher than those countries by rate, why not adjust it for that? Unless McJanitor doesn't even know how to do that, which would lead me to believe she's a bigger idiot than I thought. Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland typically have lower homicide rates than Great Britain, but a lot more firearms per capita. That's in my other Due Productions Refutation Station Part 2. Her point would have lost a lot of luster if she had mentioned entities like Panama, Russia, Estonia, Mexico, the Bahamas, or South Africa. Interestingly enough, after the UK had a pretty low homicide rate prior to their insane gun control, but that rate slightly increased after gun control. Now the most common weapon used to kill someone in England and Wales is a knife. Number 3, again, I've documented all this. Number 3, the janitor never focuses on demographics. Has she compared the demographics for nations like Finland, Germany, which has a lot more civilian firearms per capita than McStupid thinks, England, Canada, the Bahamas, the United States, Sweden, Switzerland, etc.? I bet she hasn't. Fact is, in these United States, blacks are well under 1/5 of the population, yet commit more than 1/2 of all homicides. Too bad she left that out. And black-on-black crime is very common. Too bad she left that out. Of course, you know why she did. She's too lazy to find out anyway. Number 4, the so-called gun show loophole is a lot of nonsense. If you're a federally licensed firearms dealer, you are required by federal law to conduct a background check. The allegation here is that there are a lot of shadow dealers at gun shows selling guns to straw buyers. Most of the unlicensed dealers at gun shows aren't selling guns that end up on the streets and used in homicides. Many of them sell antique firearms. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, less than 1% of criminal felons bought their firearm at a gun show. So this is much ado about nothing. Most of these felons get their gun from a friend or family member and or off the street on the black market. As far as private handgun sales, such as Fred selling his neighbor Kathleen a firearm, how are they going to police that exactly? The rationale is that if Kathleen uses that in a crime later, and they can prove Fred sold it to her, they can go after Fred. What if Kathleen had no criminal record and then committed the crime years later? What if Fred is a shady character and files any and all serial numbers off the gun? What are they going to do then? It's a lot of red tape that won't do much to curb homicides. If Kathleen has no criminal record whatsoever and uses the firearm to kill a burglar, yet Fred sold it to her without checking her background, are they still going to go after Fred? Number 5. The janitor also leans heavily on the assault weapons ban, and she's probably no more intelligent on this than the vacuous old fart rants. Those so-called assault weapons are simply semi-auto versions of automatic military weapons. They were dubbed as assault weapons, which is a loaded, biased Clinton-era term, because of cosmetic features such as a barrel shroud or pistol grip. You can add a barrel shroud and a pistol grip to a firearm, and suddenly it becomes an assault weapon, even though that doesn't make it any more dangerous. Or a bayonet lug, too. Banning large-capacity magazines won't curb the homicide rate, as most gun homicides are committed with a small-caliber handgun, not a Bushmaster. People who are adept at using firearms can pop off 18 rounds with a small-caliber handgun before you can pick your jaw up off the floor. People can use speed loaders and commit mass murder with those, so banning large-capacity magazines won't accomplish squat. Tell the gangbangers about your gun laws. Number 6. Rifles and shotguns, many of which are categorized as assault weapons, kill fewer people each year in the U.S. than knives. They also kill fewer than so-called personal weapons, such as a fist or a boot. Too bad Mcstupid left that out. Number 7. The violent crime and homicide rate has fallen dramatically since the late 1980s, early 1990s. Over the past decade, violent crime and homicide is lower than it was during the entire 1980s and 1990s. Number 8. Since 1985, dozens of states have shelved their may issue concealed carry laws, or a law prohibiting concealed carry entirely, in favor of shall issue concealed carry laws, or no permit required, such as in Vermont, Arizona, Arkansas, Alaska, or Wyoming. Since the 1960s, the number of guns in these United States per capita has more than doubled. Number 9. Most folks who commit a gun homicide aren't white Tea Party folks who just snapped. Most of them have an extensive criminal history, ergo reporting requirement for ammunition purchases will do little good. Most of the gun crime and crime overall in this country is perpetrated by folks who don't give a you-know-what about gun laws. Ending the war on drugs would solve some of these problems, as some gangs engage in turf wars to protect their monopoly on the drug trade, which is pushed underground because of prohibition. I find it funny that Mcstupid's parroted Brady scorecard gave points to his state for prohibiting drug users from owning guns. So if a guy is minding his own business, selling and smoking some pot, smelling, I'm going to leave that in there, selling and or smoking it himself, growing it himself, but gets caught too many times, he can be barred from owning a gun. LOL at the Brady campaign for fighting the war on drugs. That's very progressive of them. Number 10. The government itself, thanks to GAO research, Government Accountability Office, failed to snag several folks on the vaunted terrorist watch list from passing background checks. We don't need more laws, we need better enforcement. I also bristle at the terrorist watch list barring folks from owning guns, as our corrupt and sick government could use that designation to bar people that rock the boat too much. That's very George Bush-esque of the Brady campaign to give points for states using that designation to keep folks from purchasing firearms. Number 11. Mass shootings featuring 3 or more victims, aren't on the rise in these United States. Neither is youth homicide or homicides at schools. I think that about covers it. If I forgot anything, I will put it in the comments. Have a nice day. McCainisthroughx, I'll just accept your concession now.
Typically, we don't respond to video challenges. They're a waste of time because the points are so diametrically opposed and usually nonsensical from the challenger, and certainly unusual at best from most. However, for this one and only time, we will refute the video challenge of UTubekookdetector. We generally don't provide links because most of the subject matter is obvious.